So, cells. These tiny building blocks are the foundation of all living things, including you and me. But what makes cells so fascinating? Well, each one is like a little city with different parts working together to keep you alive and thriving. Let's discuss into the amazing world of cell structure here on Pill Talk. Let's discuss the general characteristics of cells. Every single cell in your body has its own job. It takes in nutrients and oxygen, it produces energy, it eliminates waste, and even protects you from invaders like bacteria. And just like us, cells have to maintain a stable environment to survive. And did I mention that most cells can reproduce by dividing? Except for neurons. Those cells don't get replaced. And now let's discuss the structure of cell. Inside the cell, there is an entire world of organelles, or little organs we can say, each with its own role. The nucleus is the control center holding all the genetic instructions, while the cytoplasm is where all the action happens. Floating in this jelly-like substance are organelles like mitochondria, which is a powerhouse of cell which produces the energy needed for everything the cell does. Cells are surrounded by a limiting barrier, the plasma membrane, which covers the cell surface. So the cell interior is divided into a number of compartments surrounded by membrane. These membrane-bound compartments along with some particles and filaments are known as cell organelles. So each cell organelles performs specific function as we already discussed. And now let's move on towards the next slide. Cytoplasm contains two components, cell organelles and the fluid surrounding the organelles known as the cytosol, which is also known as cytoplasmic solution. So the term intracellular fluid refers to all the fluids inside a cell. So in other words, cytosol plus the fluid inside all the organelles including the nucleus. So the chemical composition of the fluids in these cell organelles differ from that of cytosol. So now the structure of cell. Each cell comprises of three things. Number one is cell membrane, number two cytoplasm, number three nucleus. The cell membrane acts as protective sheath enveloping the cell body. It separates the fluid inside the cell from the fluid outside. It is semi-permeable, meaning only certain things like oxygen and nutrients can enter, while waste like carbon dioxide are expelled. Thickness of the cell membrane varies from 75 to 111 angstrom. If we talk about the composition of cell membrane, so the cell membrane is made up of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. This structure allows it to be flexible and self-repairing. It protects the cytoplasm while regulating the exchange of gases, nutrients, and waste. It also maintains the cell's shape and size. If we talk about structure of cell membrane is basically comprises of three layers. Number one, central layer is a lipid layer formed by the lipid substances, and the other two layers are protein layers formed by proteins. So cell membrane contains some carbohydrate molecules as well. And then structural model of the cell membrane. Number one is Danieli-Davison model, number two is unit membrane model, and number three is fluid mosaic model, which is worldwide accepted nowadays. We talk about functions of cell membrane. The membrane has many important functions. It protects the cells, it absorbs nutrients, it excretes waste, and helps with the exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. It also maintains the shape and size of the cell. So basically it's a true multitasker. Next is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is like the busy streets of a city filled with activity. It contains the cytosol, a fluid that surrounds the organelles, keeping everything in place. Cytoplasm plays a key role in supporting and suspending these structures, allowing the cell to function smoothly. So cytoplasm is made up of two zones, ectoplasm and endoplasm. Now let's take a quick tour of some important organelles. The mitochondria generate energy. The endoplasmic reticulum is a transport network helping to move materials around. The Golgi apparatus act as the packaging center. It processes and sorts the proteins for delivery. And let's not forget the ribosomes, which are like little factories producing proteins. If we move toward the next slide, this is a little table about functions of organelles. You can take a screen snap of that table so that you can read it later. Now let's discuss about cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is the cellular organelle present throughout the cytoplasm. It determines the shape of the cell and gives support to the cell. It is a complex network of structures with varying sizes. It keeps the cells in shape. And in addition to determining the shape of the cell, it is also essential for the cellular movements and the response of the cell to external stimuli. Cytoskeleton consists of three major protein components. Number one is microtubule, number two is intermediate filaments, and number three is microfilaments. Isn't it incredible how each cell is like a small bustling city with its plasma membrane, organelles, and cytoskeleton all working together? The cell keeps your body functioning every second of every day. Stay tuned to Pill Talk, where we uncover more secrets of the human body, one cell at a time.